Moviesucktastic is a podcast about bad movies and the people that love them. But it's more than just a podcast, it's also an online presence. If you want to know more about Moviesucktastic or want to become a part of Moviesucktastic, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter at Moviesucktastic, you can find our blog at boothreviews.blogspot.com, or if you want to give your own reviews that we might use on the show, you can go to reviews.moviesucktastic.com and check out our own little lunch.com community for Moviesucktastic. Check us out and become a part of the show, because the only thing more fun than a bad movie is sharing it.
You are listening to Moviesucktastic.
Dude, no! Oh!
All right.
Oh!
Yeah, we're back.
Sorry.
Oh, it's quite all right. There you are. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic.
That's right.
Oscar edition.
The Oscar edition. Yeah, it's that time of year again.
What?
It's that time of year again.
Yep. So we are here to review all of the Oscar films that are for Best Picture before the Oscars in 1 month. And the first film we're reviewing this cavalcade of reviews is Once Upon a Time in ... Hollywood.
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino film. Came out over the summer, back in July. And I got to be honest, when it came out, I did not get to see it in the theater, and I was disappointed that I didn't, because
same here.
Summer is always, it's oversaturated with comic book films now, and kids films, and by the time you hit July, and this was towards the end of July, it's like I was like really done with all that stuff, and I was like, there hasn't been a real adult film. It felt like in forever. And when
I agree.
When Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, it really filled that void for a lot of people. I didn't get to go see it. I was real disappointed, but it really filled the void for lack of adult entertainment. And I think that's why it did so well at the box office. I want to say it made close to $200 million domestically alone. I'm going to look it up now.
It was a successful release.
Yes, it was. It had a really good, strong opening weekend. Let's see.
Now, it's been described by Tarantino as his most personal film to date, and obviously it's about Hollywood and actors and all that filmmaking stuff that Tarantino's been so obsessed with his entire life. So, yeah.
Yeah, it made $41 million its opening weekend, which for an R-rated Tarantino film is pretty amazing. And the fact that it's also 2 hours and 41 minutes, which obviously limits the amount of times it can be shown in a day, even if it is on multiple screens. Domestic gross was $141 million domestically, and foreign. It's foreign gross. I really fucking can't stand Box Office Mojo's new site, which it's now owned by IMDb, so I guess that's why.
Oh, they fucked it.
Yeah, because it just I just don't like the way, I don't like the layout. I don't like how everything. I really did like it. I liked it the way it used to be. Hey, get off my lawn. It made $372 million worldwide for a film with a $90 million budget. It's pretty fucking good. Which, by the way, Tarantino doesn't normally make movies that cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his films are like 50, 60, 70 million. I don't know if this is the most money he's ever spent, but it feels like it. I mean, I think he did Kill Bill.
Well, it's a period film.
It is.
So that's going to add a bit to the budget.
I think when he did Kill Bill, I think he spent 40 million or maybe 50. And he made 2 movies. Mm-hmm. He made a 4-hour movie, but he cut them in half. So, but I mean, he was forced to cut it in half. He didn't want to do that. And everyone is still waiting for the Kill Bill Whole Bloody Affair, a cut of the film. But, you know, and here's the thing. You can watch a fan edit of Kill Bill, the Whole Bloody Affair, and I'm sure it's exactly what Tarantino would have put together, because it's just the way he does the chapters and all that. It just makes the most sense that they would have put it together that way. So, but anywho, now I did finally see this recently, the last 3 weeks, I think I saw it, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Now, there's a lot of people that have talked about how it is an ode to Hollywood, and that it is like a love letter to Hollywood, and that before the climax of the film even happens, it's kind of long and drawn out. But like many things that Tarantino does, this film contains quite a few layers that you got to peel through to get to that core and that ultimate climax at the end of the film, which is awesome. And I think what people need to do is watch it a second time. Anyone that really complains about what they've seen, they just need to watch it again.
I've got a couple interesting things to point out in the film.
Okay.
But I can do that near the end after we go over to basics.
Okay. So the film starts out with Leonardo DiCaprio's character. His character name in the film is Rick Dalton. And Brad Pitt is his stunt guy that does all the stunts for him, Cliff Booth. Mm-hmm. And where we are at the beginning of the film is the beginning decline of Leonardo DiCaprio's star power in Hollywood. He's started to do more and more films where he's playing the heavy, as he calls himself later in the film. TV shows. He's not starring in films anymore. He's doing more shows, and his star power is waning. And he has a meeting with Al Pacino, who basically tells him that and wants him to star in a bunch of spaghetti westerns, Italian films, as he calls them. And he comes to the realization that his star power probably is waning. And Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt, hasn't really done stunt work in a long, long time, because apparently he can be a bit of a fucking problem. So, and of course he's babysitting Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Rick Dalton, because he's basically an alcoholic, a functioning alcoholic, and he of course loves the spotlight so much that he gets himself into trouble every now and again. So he lost his license, he can't drive around, Brad Pitt is doing all that for him, and of course they're close friends as well, which as the film progresses you realize more and more. And that's where they start us off in the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio's waning star power. He's kind of becoming a has-been.
Yeah, so the whole film basically is a long introduction to these two characters and to Sharon Tate.
Sharon Tate.
Yeah,
Margot,
Sharon Tate,
played by Margot Robbie.
And Roman Polanski.
Right.
And these are their neighbors.
Yeah, that is Rick Dalton's neighbors. He knows that Roman Polanski is his neighbor, and as he says in the film, that Rosemary's Baby, one of the hottest films I think they mentioned of the year before, which we've reviewed that movie on this show. Yeah. And I don't see it. Never have, and I never will. But still, in that time period, Roman Polanski was one of the hottest, if not the hottest director, at least in that short time frame. That was before he was raping kids.
Right, and this, of course, is the big thing about this movie is this takes place 6 months before and then the night of the Manson murders.
The correct, that is correct.
Right.
And Tarantino has a very ingenious take on how that whole climax happens. We're not going to give that away during this review. Not too
much away, but
right. But all I can say is, if you've seen Inglorious Basterds, you've seen how he's done it and why, and how he moves the story. I'm going to partially
ruin it, Joey.
You are.
Yeah, well, just because I don't want to dance around the concept that we're talking about here, which is revisionist history.
Okay.
All right. So I absolutely love this new genre, if it's new, of revisionist history.
Yeah, you know what? I enjoy it. I really do. Especially when the outcome.
Normally, typically,
yeah,
when you get that kind of thing, it's in the future. It's like, after Reagan's third term. Now, Watchmen was an alternate history.
Yes, it was.
But we didn't even realize that because we've lived with that for 30 years. Yeah, so it didn't occur, that I just kind of overlooked that. But the whole revisionist past history, I love it as a genre. I think they should do much more of it. If Tarantino wasn't, like, quote unquote retiring now, he'd have to do a third revisionist one so he could have a trilogy.
This is true. Yeah, this is very, very true. He's got two of them. So, and
I'd love to see a third.
Now, I guess we could talk about that very briefly and then head right back into Once Upon a Time. He says he's making 10 films and then he's retiring. Now, he says he's not retiring from writing. He will write screenplays and then they can be adapted into films based on his screenplays, which I don't know. I don't know if Tarantino would be... I mean, he did that in the beginning of his career. He was writing things like Natural Born Killers, and he was writing things like, why can't I fucking think?
True Romance.
True Romance. Thank you. Jesus Christ. He was doing things like that at the beginning of his career. I don't know. I just don't see him going back to that.
The only reason I see a difference is that back then he was trying to make a name for himself and become a filmmaker, and so I think he resented whenever he wrote something and other people were making a career off of his writing.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why he had his name removed from stuff like that. He didn't want to be associated with anybody else except himself. Now that he's made his career and he makes his Magic 10 and, like, here's my oeuvre, I think, like, the pressure's off, and now he won't mind writing screenplays. He might even write them and, like, be uncredited, just to do it.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, as far as, like, his resume of film, this is his 9th film. He says he's stopping after the 10th, and it on IMDb it says Kill Bill 3 is announced. Now, I can't imagine that would be his 10th and final film. I can see one of two things. One, he's not going to stop after 10. He might take a long hiatus. Maybe he'll take a break for 2, 3, 5 years, however long he feels like he wants to do that, and then comes back with the 11th film by Quentin Tarantino, after he makes that 10th film. I can see that happening. I just don't see him never directing a movie again. After
maybe his health's not that good.
He's fine.
He didn't look that good in Django.
No, but I saw pictures of him recently. He looks very trim. He looks like... I wasn't
saying trim doesn't mean healthy.
It looks like... Listen, doesn't mean that he's not healthy. It just means it looks like he's...
But only fat people aren't healthy?
Stop. Oh, my God. It looks like he's slimmed down and he's taking care of himself. Jesus fucking Christ.
Anyway.
So
a lot of the film has Tarantino's signature cinematography, and there's a lot of devotion played to cars and driving in California, which is a big deal out there.
Yeah.
And plenty of feet.
Yeah, well, that's a Tarantino standard.
Oh man. After
Now-
the fourth time, I'm like, oh, Quentin, please.
What's her
Man.
name? Is it
And dirty feet.
Yes, he
They were
must.
all dirty. Even Sharon Tate's feet. Ew. Dirty feet. Ew. What was that about?
It's his thing.
Yeah.
Maybe if he made a
Like,
film
do they find him in his closet?
maybe if he made a film where he didn't have so many feet, maybe he'd finally win Best Picture. Maybe it's like they look at it and go, I just can't take this seriously. I can't vote for it.
Now, the weird thing was also,
wait,
not only did he have lots of female feet in the bare feet in the film, the weird thing I thought was there was I don't know if you called it an obsession or a focus, but we saw 3 instances of women, 2 instances specifically of women snoring while sleeping.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Sharon Tate being one of them. And
Thank you. You noticed that too.
I did. And I was wondering what the hell was. See, and when I was watching it, I was thinking, is he showing that, like, this beautiful woman that is looked at so beautifully by everyone that this is almost like the only thing that's ugly about her is that she saws wood like crazy.
I mean, I think it might make her human. I mean, that might be one of the reasons.
Could be.
But why do it twice? That's the thing that got me, because I was trying to explain this to somebody else, and I was like, you got to understand, as a writer, and and Tarantino is definitely a writer, you don't repeat something like that unless there's a reason for it. It'd be like if you had 2 separate characters in 2 different parts of the movie, and both of them for some reason like skipped rope.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that because that would draw attention to that, and then there's a reason for that. The only reason you do something that blatant is that you're trying to draw attention to something, or there's a hidden meaning to it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The fact that it was done twice. If it was done once, it probably would have just been looked at as comedic effect. But twice has to mean something. Don't know what it is.
And we had 3 people. We had three scenes with women in bed sleeping.
Right.
Or sleeping, not in bed, like once on the plane. And then we had Bruce Dern sleeping.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so I think it's the only other people we saw sleeping in the film. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think that's it.
So 3 women and Bruce Dern.
Yeah. He's Bruce Dern's his new guy. Got to get him in there.
Another thing I noticed, and I thought I don't know if this was intentional or not. I don't even know if you noticed this.
Okay.
What is the one thing? One of the bad films out there is The Hills Have Eyes 2.
The
right?
remake sequel or the original sequel?
The original. The original
Yes.
Hills Have Eyes 2.
Yes. Pretty
Notoriously bad film.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I may be thinking of a different film. Never mind. Ignore that.
Okay.
No. But Tarantino does. Yeah, that was a complete waste of fucking time. If
It's fine.
Tarantino does what any screenwriter, any writer would tell you never to do.
What's that?
He has a flashback and a flashback.
Oh.
I didn't even notice till the second time I watched the film. It's like, son of a bitch, that was a flashback and a flashback.
It's like,
you can't do that.
What is this, Raising Cain?
Yeah, you can't do that. You know why I thought of Hills Have Eyes 2? Because the dog had a flashback. That's what the...
Oh.
I was confused.
The dog. Yeah. I like the dog.
I remember...
I like that interaction with Brad Pitt.
What?
I said I like the
dog.
The
dog, yeah, that was good.
I like the interaction with Brad Pitt when he's feeding her.
It shows his character, and it shows... I mean, it's like every little thing's done on purpose. Like if you're not paying attention, you may not realize that the reason you're watching his feeding ritual with the dog is so that you kind of explain subconsciously that the dog is trained. So when he attacks him because he clicks his teeth twice, you know there's a reason for it.
Exactly. I was waiting for that.
Got, like,
the entire.
it's subtly set up. It's not exposition.
I was,
everything that happens is for a reason.
I was waiting for that the entire film. The entire film. After that scene when he feeds his dog, when he feeds her, the whole discipline thing, I'm like, I was like, there's no way Tarantino puts this in the film because it's not going to come up later somehow. Like, something's going to involve this dog. The dog is involved in the film a little too much. Not so much that it overtakes it, but it's definitely to the point of where this dog, she is going to have something. And, of course, it's the end of the film.
I mean, it's Chekhov's gun is usually taken literally as a gun, but what it really comes down to is the whole idea as a writer. If you're introducing something at an earlier stage in your story, you are preparing for that to come up again.
Right.
Like the cigarette.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, the minute that comes up, it's like, I think we'll hear about this in the third act, don't you? But again, that's not bad writing. It's just typical. That's, when you're paying attention, this stuff's there for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was I going to say, Joey?
Well, we were talking about everything being done for a reason. Dirty feet. Snoring.
Yeah, I was going to take a side step.
People sleeping.
I'm trying to remember what I was.
People sleeping.
I was going to jump right off the train and say something.
People sleeping and snoring.
No, it's something about the filmmaking.
Tarantino doing stuff on purpose.
Well, go on. What else you got about the film? I'll remember.
Well, they again, one of the main plots of the film is DiCaprio's decline, and they rise, huh?
Decline and rise.
It's true. He ends up doing those Italian films. Which is only a short period of time, but the rise comes near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But they have this side story about Manson and his harem of women.
That's right. Manson was in this.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see him for like 10 seconds. They show him in the trailer, and I mean, I'm not disappointed in any way, but it kind of made me think that he was going to be in it a little bit more, but he was just kind of mentioned in passing. You saw him walking in their neighborhood, and then that was it. You didn't really see him again. But what you did see was basically his cult and where they lived and how they were, operating, and it was really well done. And what's her face? The girl, the one that Brad Pitt picks up.
Oh, the hitchhiker.
Yeah, that's Andy McDowell's daughter.
Pussycat.
Yeah, that's Andy McDowell's daughter, and her name is it Joanne Qualley? Margaret Qualley. Who's, I like her. She's got she was in a couple of other things, and she's just like kind of starting to make movies. And Uma Thurman's daughter is in this too, briefly, which I don't know if her daughter, Uma Thurman's daughter, looks like almost identical to Uma Thurman, but her voice sounds just like Uma Thurman. Like the inflection in her voice, it's almost identical. It's almost creepy. It's fucking crazy. So anyway, you see that cult, that little village of people with Manson's his followers, and
including Squeaky Fromme.
Yeah,
I love Dakota Fanning as Squeaky Fromme. I think she nails it. I'm sorry.
Well, we talked about her last episode, where it's like, as a kid, I didn't really like her as an actress, but as an adult, she's much better. At least for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now that she's grown up, she's much more mature.
Is it the terrorists? No, it's not the terrorists. Stop it now. Jesus Christ. Harley Quinn
Oh.
Smith. Oh, Harley Quinn Smith is in the movie? That's Kevin Smith's daughter.
Oh yeah. Harley Quinn. Yeah, that.
She
Right.
plays
Yeah, she's
Froggy,
probably one of the. She's Froggy. She's one of the
one of the girls.
Manson girls.
Yeah. I didn't even notice her,
Yeah.
to be honest. I knew
I wouldn't either.
I
I
knew
don't
the
know who that
guy at the end of the film, and also the guy riding the horse. He was in that Kevin Smith film with what was it called? Yoga Hosers.
Oh, that yeah, I've heard.
And of
things.
course, he's a Kevin Smith guy now. So, and Kevin Smith and Tarantino are actually friends. They're good friends. So I'm sure he's
they're fanboys. Yeah.
I'm sure he threw a couple of actors Tarantino's way. He's like, hey, choose this guy. He's good. I like him.
Oh,
How about my daughter? Can you put her in your movie too?
You know what? You still there?
I'm here. I am here.
Oh, the heat turned off. I just imagined myself at a bar sitting between Kevin Smith and
Tarantino.
And I feel like the first half hour would be excellent, and then like somewhere around the third hour, I'd want to kill both of them, and they'd probably hate me too. I mean, it's mutual. just two mega fanboys just unleashed.
Well, that's
I
why you'd have to bring me
even I have
along.
limits.
You'd have to bring me along to help out. Because I would have to interject, and I think I could salvage it. I think we could go 3 hours and walk away and want to do it again.
Now, I'm going to say that the only reason this was nominated for Best Picture is because it's a love letter to Hollywood.
Oh, for sure. And
I'll even say something about the film bothered me a little bit. Not it's like the pacing and stuff. I was like, the pacing feels like a different type of Tarantino film that I'm used to, and I couldn't put my finger on it at first. But
right.
Tarantino has two kinds of films. He has films that are layered, that are really layered, and they go, back, forth, sideways. And then he has straight narrative, but then he does this thing where he'll have it's a straight narrative, but
with layers.
The first like two acts, the whole thing is basically, I told you that story to tell you this one.
Yeah, what was the other one? Hateful Eight, I think, was like that.
Hateful Eight, Death Proof, they're all like that. Here's the first two acts. Now, technically, all the first two acts are a setup for the third act. That's just the way it flows. But like the first act, the first act of the first two acts are a self-contained story, just to give you enough information for the second story to make sense.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But for some reason, I think of the film a little bit beneath some of his other stuff because of that.
Yeah. And again, I think you're right. It's nominated for Best Picture because it's a love letter. Does it win? I don't think so. Because I think what they'll do is Tarantino keeps talking about making a 10th and final film and then quitting. Unless it just isn't very good, I think they give him Best Picture on that film, on his 10th and final movie. I mean, unless he fucking does Star Trek like he's been threatening, then I don't think he wins Best Picture for that. But I don't know what his 10th and final film is going to be. Could it be Kill Bill 3? I don't think he's going to want to end his career on making Kill Bill 3. I think he would write Kill Bill 3 and trust someone else to direct it. I think he'd do that. But I also don't think this is going to be, or he's going to make a 10th and final film. I think he's going to make a 10th film and take a really long break. Like, we might not see another Tarantino film for like 5-7 years. And then he'll come back and make an 11th film. I really do. I really don't think he's going to end at 10. I just don't. And I mean, I don't want to say he has an ego and, he'll write stuff and then he'll not want anyone else to direct it. I don't think that's what it is at all. I think he's just going to miss making movies and he's going to just make more movies. I just think that's what he'll do. I really do.
I know, I agree. I think it's fair. Now, as far as the the categories that this film's nominated for, Best Picture. Again, I think it's a great film. I like it, but as far as a Best Picture film, I feel like any kind of cinematic flourishes to it are all nods to Hollywood, nods to film.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's a cheap sell.
Yeah, I mean, like if you, I gotta be honest. Even though, as much as I enjoyed this movie, I want to say I enjoyed The Hateful Eight more. I thought that that was a better film.
A better, different kind of film, I would say.
But where I'm going with what I'm saying is that was not nominated for Best Picture.
No,
it was one of those years where
Best Screenplay.
Yes, it was, but it was one of those years where it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. It was nominated for Best Screenplay because the film was acted, paced, and it moved like a stage play. And it could be adapted into a stage play easily.
That's what he does. That's what he does next. He starts doing musicals.
Yeah.
Tarantino's Cats.
Oh, I'd watch that. I'd actually see that. Why not?
Now, as far as winning original screenplay category?
No. Well, what okay, so what is its competition?
Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, and Parasite.
I think it goes to Parasite.
I'm feeling. Have you seen Parasite yet?
I haven't yet, but I just feel that there is just too much hype about that film.
It's deserved hype. I think that wins. At the moment, I haven't seen Marriage Story of 1917, but I like the other three. I enjoyed all three films. I think Parasite edges out the others.
Okay.
That's me. Now, what else we got? Production design.
I'm just spitballing, but yeah, I think you're right. I think Parasite, there's a lot of hype around it. I just think, from what I've read and what I've seen, the movie is so well made that it's probably a lock. How many nominations total did it get?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
Yeah, so Best Actor and Supporting Actor, I don't see either.
No. Well, no, I think Brad Pitt will win Best Supporting.
I disagree.
As of right now, if I had a ballot in front of me and it was our live telecast, I would be putting my money on Brad Pitt. Just because, again, directing. He's never won. He's been nominated, but he's never won. And I can't even say he's overdue because I think he's only been nominated one other time or twice.
Like Legends of the Fall.
Legends of the Fall, and I think that... And was it Legends of the Fall and A River Runs Through It? And that was it?
I think so.
I think that's it.
I think so.
So, yeah, I think that was it for him. So, you can't say that he's long overdue, but I think they're treating it that way.
What about directing?
Tarantino for Best Director. What is... let's see. Who's not?
Parasite, Joker, The Irishman, and 1917.
I think it... To be honest, if I was a betting man, I'm saying Parasite or possibly Joker gets Best Director.
From what I've seen so far, I just don't see Tarantino getting Best Director.
No.
Again, not against him. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be nominated. I'm saying it's not the best film out of that bunch.
Has he ever won Best Director? I know he's been nominated a few times.
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
Let me look real quick. I don't believe he's ever won. He's won Best Original Screenplay twice. Pulp Fiction, Inglorious Basterds.
I believe so.
That sounds right. Tarantino.
Production design, I can never guess that, but I would lean more towards like a war film getting that.
Let's see. Oscars.
What do you think?
Yeah, probably. He was Best Director nominee for Pulp Fiction. Wow, he's only been nominated for Best Director one other time, and that was Pulp Fiction. So it was Pulp Fiction and this. That's the only time he's ever been nominated for Best Director. So, and to be honest,
let me say this:
he probably should have won for Pulp Fiction and Best Picture that year too.
Yeah, I think I think in hindsight, I think everybody acknowledges that.
Well, I bring it up. I wrote that article of films that didn't win Best Picture that should have, and that's one of the films on my list.
Yeah, I believe it.
Forrest Gump over Pulp Fiction in '94. Are you fucking kidding? I mean, Forrest Gump doesn't hold up like Pulp Fiction does. That's fact. I mean, just try and disagree. It just doesn't. It just
I dare you.
It does not hold up like Pulp Fiction does.
At the moment, let me just make a quick prediction that if Tarantino gets Best Director, if he does, he's definitely not getting Best Picture.
No, they will split that category faster than you could say split category. There's no fucking way.
He sweeps that.
No way.
No.
Unless they just want to get
design, sound mixing, and sound editing.
Okay. Unless they just want to get giving him Best Director picture out of the way, not waiting until a 10th and potentially final film. So like, we don't know what this 10th and final film is, and we don't know if he's totally serious. But if he is, we're just going to give him Best Director and Best Picture, so we don't have to fucking hear about it anymore.
Well,
and watch, his 10th and final film is the fucking epic masterpiece that he's been trying to make forever. Although he has two probably perfect films or near perfect films, and that's Pulp Fiction and Inglorious Basterds. I don't think he's made two better films in his entire career. I really do. Inglorious Basterds is that fucking good. And Pulp Fiction is good.
I think I got two different types of films, but yeah, I agree.
I think we even talked about that when we reviewed it, years and years and years ago when we did the Oscar show, is that Inglorious Basterds is one of those films where, and I vaguely remember us talking about this, it's basically a foreign film. It's more than half of that film is in subtitles. And the opening of the film is the first 15 to 20 minutes of the film is all subtitles. And it's fucking excellent. I'm going to probably watch the first 15, 20 minutes of that movie after we're done with this show now, because it's in my head. So as far as moving on with any plot structure or and whatnot, are we spoiling this ending? Are we going to dance around it?
I mean,
I don't think we
only
should.
spoiling it as much as like the trailer or people talking about it does, but we're not giving away the actual details of the ending.
Okay, good.
Just revisionist history. Something different happens.
Yeah, and it's really well done. It's really well done, and I really enjoyed it.
It's a great movie. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. It's one of his longer films. 2 hours and 41 minutes. I think Hateful Eight was only longer by about 10 minutes. But yeah, without giving anything away, anything else to say about this?
Squeaky Fromm. I'm sorry. That's great.
Tell me when he gets close to the door. Okay, all right, fine. Just tell me when he gets close.
And now, rating on IMDb.
Oh, that's right. We are still doing a podcast about movies. It's currently
on 7.8.
7.8 on 334,000 votes. I think I'd go a solid 8 on this.
What about 9?
Ooh.
Why not a 9? I'm not suggesting 10.
9
why not a 9?
9 is near perfect.
Right. So 10 would be 10 would be Inglorious Basterds. 9 would be Pulp Fiction.
No.
Or would 10 be Pulp Fiction?
No, 10 is Pulp Fiction, Inglorious Basterds. You know what? I might go 10 on both of those movies. I really.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. So it's like Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight's like a solid 8, and Jackie Brown is a 7. Like, you know what I mean? Reservoir Dogs, go 9. This film, I don't know. Yeah, well,
no,
maybe
I'm almost with you. I think 8's good.
Maybe then you're almost talking me into a 9. But a 9,
you know
a 9 is like really. It's like I might go 9 on Joker, like when we finally review that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the film's it's got meaning to it, but it's not as deep as it wants to be. I'm with you on the 8.
Yeah, I think 8 is still 8 is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
9 is, we're talking masterpiece area for a 9. You're getting into that area.
You're right.
So, as good as this is, I don't feel a 9 on it.
Okay.
I might be able to be talked into a 9 if we were going to go longer on this episode, but
no.
But 8 it is. All right, so I have no idea what movies we're reviewing next week, but I believe we're going to be doing 3 of them. I think I know we're gonna have to stick to the 30-minute rule, or else we're not gonna be able to do it. We're already 42 minutes in. By the time it's over, it's another 45-minute episode. We gotta stick to the 30-minute rule. We gotta give ourselves some guidelines, I think.
All right, yeah, we'll work on that. Next weekend we'll have a structured show.
No, we won't. We're gonna do 3 episodes, and we're gonna record for 2.5 hours. That's just what's gonna happen. Just expect it.
No. We're gonna have a structured episode next episode.
I'm gonna try.
I'm saying it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try my hardest to keep us in check and do 30 minutes, but we'll see.
I'll get us some structure.
All right. Let's go ahead and end this shit.
Okay.
Because I'm tired. All right, everybody. I'm going to keep these short and sweet. I'm not going to bookend this shit the way I normally do. So just go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. If you want to email us, it's themovieguys@Moviesucktastic.com. You can download our Android app for your Android device, phone, tablet, whatever you're using. As long as it's Android, it will work, and it's 100% free. Facebook.com/Moviesucktastic, Tumblr, it's all in there. It's 100% free. Mr. Wilson, any words of wisdom before we depart?
I was going to do a Bruce Lee, but I knew I'd fuck it up, so no.
So Scott's words of wisdom is don't embarrass yourself and do a Bruce Lee. That guy, by the way, was pretty good, too.
Concentration.
Oh, no.
That's a movie quote.
Yes, it is. You will miss all the heavenly glory. Oh, my God. That guy that did Bruce Lee was pretty good, too. Yeah. Now, from his face forward, doesn't look too much like Bruce Lee. Close enough. Side profile, I thought they were CGI-ing shit in, like doing that deep fake stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't. It's just his side profile. It's pretty good. I do like the scene with Brad Pitt, like that whole thing, that transition. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Even though we did talk about
that's Tarantino dialogue. That's that's there.
And I just love. He's like, "Yep, that's about how that would have went."
And away we go.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week when we review 3 movies in a night, so that we can get all 9 of these before we do our live telecast for the Oscars on February 6th, which is a Sunday night.
Kill me.
8 o'clock. We'll make sure that the live feed is working, and you can tune in, and you can watch how they cancel our live feed after 7 minutes. But we'll have a recorded audio of the show for iTunes and whatnot. All right, everybody. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.